It's a podcast, it's a video, and more.
Okay.
Welcome back to another episode of
We grown.
Question mark?
I'm your host, Sean.
Maya.
I'm Jess.
And first things first, what had you feeling grown? I said it, but like I'm not about to be the one to answer it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so let's see. What had me feeling grown? I'm not gonna get political, but I am in middle management. I am a middle manager. I guess that's what you would call it. And that just has had me feeling grown because I'm just gonna use like an example of stuff comes from above you. Like your management, your leaders, they come and they're like, you know what? I don't like the sky. Let's change it. And I'm like, okay, we're gonna change the sky. So I'm pushing it down. Guys, we changing the sky. And they like, well, what we changing the sky to? I'm like, that's a good question. They didn't tell me. So they like, okay, well, do we use paint? Like, are we painting the sky? Is it the color? Like, is it what are we doing to it? I'm like, great questions. Let me ask. Hey guys, what are we changing the sky to? Silence. And I'm like, well, there we go. Like that's just how middle management works. You trying to manage up, you trying to manage down, and you have
Yeah.
no clue what you're doing the whole time. So I've been feeling like that for the past few weeks, where I'm just like,
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just here trying to survive and keep a job. Wild.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
has had me feeling real grown.
Yeah.
What about
Uh,
you?
what has had me feeling grown? Um, I met my neighbors yesterday. I met my neighbors yesterday, and that had me feeling grown because we've been living in this house for a while, and I want to say when we first moved in here, um, the neighbor next to us came and said hello. But a new neighbor moved in, and I guess I don't know if you're supposed to welcome the neighbors or they supposed to come introduce themselves, but they decided to come introduce themselves, and I was like, "Oh, this is a thing!" Like I thought this was only in the movies. Like they came over with pastries, like we want to introduce ourselves. We're the new neighbors from across the street, da 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 da, and
The
they're
ones
like,
across the street? Someone moved in
"Yeah,
their house?
yeah, yeah." It's a couple and their two kids. So
Oh,
I met one kid yesterday. Actually, I should have met both kids, but when they rang the doorbell, it was like 8:30, and I don't be up at 8:30. But my husband answered the door even though he's not home. He answered on the ring and was like, "How can I help you?" And they're like, "Oh, we're the neighbors across the street." And it was the whole family standing at the door. And he's like, "Oh, hold on a minute, let me get my wife." They probably thinking he in the house, and he just never shows back up. So he calls me. This man calls me and he says, the neighbors are at the door. I said, what they got to do with me? I didn't answer the door. Like, he's like, but they wanted to introduce themselves. I said, why did you answer the door? Like, if I didn't answer the door and I'm in the house, what would make you think that you, however many miles away you are, should answer the door? And by the time we finished arguing on the phone, they had left. so,
I'm dead.
so I was like, now I'm gonna feel really bad because I went to go listen to his ring conversation with them, and this man literally was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go get my wife," and so it sounds as if he's here. Like he didn't say like, "Oh, we're not available," or like he didn't say anything to indicate he wasn't there and that he was gonna find out where I was at. He literally was like, "I'm gonna go get her," and then I don't show up. So I'm like, "Well, now I gotta go across the street," and it's dark outside. By this time, it's probably 9 o'clock. And I'm looking around and I call him. I'm like, you got to make sure I don't get killed because why you got me out here at 9 o'clock at night? It's dark. We have foxes, we have deer. Anything could be out here.
Neither one of those are about to attack you.
Right.
They might.
Right.
They might. I don't be outside that late. With all I know, we got raccoons. We used to have rats when the old people was across the street. So who knows? But anyways, I go over there. They were super nice. They were nice people. And eventually I'll meet the daughter. I don't know how old she is. I think she looked older, but I feel like everybody looks older. to
Girl, you
me.
saying older? Like I have no clue what this age range is supposed to be.
Exactly.
She looked older as if like
Exactly.
she could be our age, but because she was staying with them, I'm like, she may not be, but then again, she could be. I don't know. Like she looked like she could be our age, and I'm calling us older. But she could also be like 19 or 20.
Girl,
Speak for yourself.
okay.
First of all, y'all are in y'all mid-30s, so let's not play this game right now. I'm
Woo!
the youngin. I'm still in my early
We are
30s.
the same age.
Yeah, for 2 more months.
That's not me. That is not me.
2 months for one, 3 or 4 months for the other.
Mario be flexing these months like
Bruh.
crazy. Flexing these months. Like, girl,
Is it not 2 more months for you?
I don't think so. I don't think
We
so.
are in February.
The beginning.
Here she go. Two and a
There you go.
half.
You don't want to talk about some daggone months. Y'all in y'all mid-30s. We not even.
Yeah, about to be.
Y'all is
Y'all
crazy.
as in all of us
No,
collectively.
I got time. Y'all be talking about how I just barely made it. Let me barely make it into my mid-30s then.
There ain't no barely making it. We stumbling in. We falling face first. That's
Yeah,
why.
Yeah.
that's what had me feeling grown. I introduced myself to the neighbor, or I introduced myself to the neighbor, and they were nice. I was like, oh, if my dad ever comes over, I'll introduce y'all because I feel like they're more his age range. Maybe not quite as old as he is, but probably closer.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, well,
Mhm.
I guess because I just live in a new community, so all of us are like tight. But no one's moved out, so I don't know how that will work. Like, you come to us, but that seems weird. Like, I feel like we would go to them.
I don't know. I
Ain't
didn't.
nobody come to me.
Girl, you live in the boonies. Like,
She got
But the
neighbors.
people be here. They be here. Like, the old man came to us randomly. Like, he would start conversations with me about the dog, but that was about it. And then unfortunately, after his wife and his dog passed, then he started talking to us more. So I was like, okay, well, then we went over there and we took him like a little gift for Father's Day. And we ain't never heard from that
Aw.
man again. I mean, he talks to us again, like in passing, but we are aware of each other. And then my neighbor next door, she just started talking to me. This lady didn't even know I was pregnant.
okay.
I know you saw me waddling around my house outside, but I guess she like, all right, that ain't my business. I ain't worried about you.
Yeah, I don't
Wow.
know what's happening with anybody on this street.
Hmm.
And I actually know somebody. Like, there's a guy who worked with me when I guess fresh sophomore year or something like that. When I was working at Ross, he worked at Ross too, and he lives on this same street. It's a small, small world. Like,
Small world.
he got his little family over there, and I got my little family a couple houses down, and we do not talk. Like, we should
Damn.
be friends. We know each other from way back. Maybe one day I'll go actually introduce myself to the rest of the neighbors since that's what we doing now.
I guess. I don't know. I don't know. It's just weird because it's just like I feel like people just be like, I'm living my life where I'm at. I don't need to know my neighbor. We know enough to keep each other alert and to look out for each other, but it's not like we gotta be besties. We not like Sean neighborhood, like the little cult they
But
are.
I like
Like,
that though. I like Sean's neighborhood. I like that they can do stuff.
Not the cold.
And you know what? I think that when our neighborhood first started, they used to be like Sean's neighborhood. But people have moved in and out and in and out. Because
yeah,
I went on
it's
their
harder to
yeah,
establish that.
I went on their Facebook page and they were having like block parties and stuff at one point. And I'm like, what happened to that? Where my HOA money going now? Because y'all was having barbecues on the street before.
True.
Maybe I need to join HOA. I need to
I'm
do
about
that.
to say you gotta go to the
I
meetings.
do. I need to go to the meetings. Because
You gotta
that
go to the
playground they put over
meetings.
there, I did not approve. And
Nah.
they sent out a poll. I'm over here trying to respond. It's like, you cannot respond to this email. I'm like, but the options suck. I need more options.
I'm
But
dead.
I should have been in a meeting. That was my fault.
True, because I join our HOA meetings every time.
I really should join. It's over Zoom. It's not like it's in person.
Yep, ours too. I
Yeah.
don't be saying nothing. I just really be there just to hear people complain. But
No, I need to join.
So I want to know the tea.
exactly. And then, my neighbors, we got our little group chat and we be
See?
I guess
I'm
our
gonna
little
do this.
cult, that's how we do.
I
Do
got.
y'all let anybody new in there
Ain't nobody new on our street.
on your street? But y'all still have the whole neighborhood.
This isn't
Yeah.
a neighborhood thing. This is our street.
Case in point.
Well, whatever then. We culting it up then. See us on the 4th of July. That's when our block party is.
Yeah. That's cute.
Yeah.
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 I'm gonna
But
join.
yeah,
I'm gonna join one of these days.
we
Sure.
ain't got none. We ain't got no HOA.
Even
Yeah.
better then.
Huh?
Even better.
Hmm?
Oh.
I guess.
Mm. Just what had you feeling grown?
Ah, I'm gonna talk about work. Work had me feeling grown because I I feel like I come from like a background where it's like, oh, you respect adults and you respect authority, da, da, da. And it's just like, I don't know, maybe it's postpartum, maybe it's I'm in my 30s and I'm just not really caring.
Mid
I'm about to be in
30s.
my mid 30s. But I just I have been advising against a new project. And I'm the project manager. So I'm like, hey, I don't think we should do this. And here are the reasons why. And they're like, okay, we hear you, but we still want to do this project. And I'm like, we can't do this project because here are the listed reasons why. And then they're like, well, this person wants to do the project. So can you write up a project plan to do the project? And I'm like, I'll do a presentation to explain what the project will be about and why we can't do it. And so they're like, okay. And then I'm like, okay, let's present the project. They're like, oh, no, don't present it to him. Just present it to us. So I say, okay. And I show them. And they're like, wow, well, can we still do the project? Let's still do the project. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't think we should do it. So then they're like, well, let's do a demo so he can like just see how it works. So we do that. And this man says, I don't want to do this. He's like, this, I don't want to do this. And this is not what I asked for. The level of pissed I was because I had to go out and try to get another contract for something. Like we're paying extra money to make this happen because we don't have so many things that we need to make it work. And so I'm like, why is nobody listening to me? Like I've presented it several different ways. I've been in saying the same thing for like 3 years. Like, unless we're going to do the work to make this happen, we shouldn't do it. Like, we need to do the precursors before we do the project. And nobody was listening to me. And so it takes the person that's now pushing for this to happen that they didn't want me to present to say, I don't want to do this. This is not what I asked for them to be like, oh, well, maybe you're right. And so I had to confront like my leadership and I said, don't next time don't stand between me and the project sponsor. If y'all want me to do a project, I need to have a meeting with him. I need to have a meeting with them, whoever they are. Like
Yeah.
you can't separate me from the person that's asking for the project because there's a breakdown in communication.
Right.
And had I done the presentation, we would have known a month, maybe more, that this project wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
So that was a moment where it's just like I'm not in a position of authority, but I'm gonna have to take authority on this and also give a critique. Like this is not how things can go. Moving forward, let's do better. And thankfully, like it was accepted. Like there was some pushback, like, well, how do you know? And I'm just like, because this is what I was explaining in the presentation, and then this is what this person is asking for. They're two very different things. Like we just can't do this. So yeah, being able to stand up for myself with leadership and not back down has had me feeling grown. Like y'all need to listen to me. Like, I don't speak up when there's nothing to speak up for. I don't cause a ruckus if there's no reason to cause a ruckus. Like, if I say something, it's because it's important, and it's because like I don't want to waste people's time.
Mhm.
Fine.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
that had me feeling grown.
Can we talk about real quick? Because I'm looking at both of y'all on my screen, which are low cuts, and this is the first time y'all both came on here with no hair.
Well, okay,
Talk
first
about
of
it.
all, Jess is over here, bald headed baddie. She look like she probably real thick at the bottom. It's like this.
She is. First of all, I'm not.
And is
This listen. I have been kind of low key staring at why are her breasts so big because what is happening here? And they just in the camera like, like bro, put that away, cover up.
Not put that away.
The baby ain't
yo,
here, man. No,
not
just got
cover up.
jugs with it. I feel like maybe it's because you don't have hair. It's like okay, now look at other places.
So you were just looking at the hair before?
I don't know, but I'm like, when did these get here? You've been breastfeeding for a minute and they were not this big, or maybe I didn't notice.
They've
I don't
been
know.
growing because I seen them.
Not growing,
Every time
gross.
I'd be like,
They a little
okay,
bigger.
okay.
Yo, y'all are wild.
Not y'all. Moyo said it.
You're not disagreeing.
You added to it.
But I've been
Exactly.
saying that since the beginning. I've been
I think
saying that.
it's the positioning of the
Yo,
camera.
it
No,
has
them
to
things be
be.
there because I saw him in person.
Oh,
Like,
maybe there is a little. Mm.
not the jump.
This girl pressed. They gonna be gone
Yeah.
when you're done. So
Yo,
enjoy them while you
that's
got them.
That's not always true because John Aunt her boob stayed.
Oh, it must be nice.
some people's they be staying. I
Mine,
don't know.
mine went away with some. So I'll take some with me while I go. Came back to skin, straight up skin. Shoot,
Not skin.
that's what they are now. I've accepted that for myself. It's fine.
Oh no. I mean, maybe because you did back to back.
Oh, it don't matter. I'm okay with my skin.
Suck them dry.
I'm okay with my little skin.
Yeah.
I
I
keep
do be getting glimpses of my old life when I like either pump or after she feeds. I'm like, dang, that's how small they were.
not glimpses of my old life.
Bruh, them Jones be so deflated. I'm like, oh no, oh no.
So
Oh man.
what caused the big chop?
Um, postpartum, whatever you want to call it, depression, anxiety, rage, a mixture of all of them, and hair loss. Um, I was just ready. Like, but I had already talked about it before. Like when I was pregnant, I was like, I feel like I would probably just cut my hair off. Just
We
because
talked
it
about it in the episode.
yeah, like it would just been easier. It would have been easier just to not have hair. But I think like after taking showers and like washing my hair and like seeing clumps come out at a time, I was just like, no, this is this is stressing me out. This is hurting my own feelings. So instead of dealing with the postpartum and like shedding in that manner, let me just set it off and be good. And then also I had braids, and so my child was like legitimately pulling my braids. And so I'm like, yeah, these got to go. She just confirming that mama ain't gonna have no hair.
Oh, I know that life. I know it as well. Because Kendall, strong as I don't know what, she was like, "You coming with me?" I didn't have my face hit the ground so many
Listen,
times.
at
Is that
their
why you cut your
mercy.
hair, Sean?
I was tired of it. I'm tired. I'm
Sean
tired.
been tired.
I know.
Sean
Yeah.
been tired.
I mean, I swear, it'd be every episode. I'd be like, "It's going. It's going." But I mean, I've been growing my hair since 2020, since COVID started, and it was long. It was really long. I was tired of going to sleep, and then my hair being so because I don't know what to do. Like if I was going to sleep with an afro, that joint was afroing, and then I wake up the next day like my neck hurt. I don't know what to do, and then I'd be like that for a week, and I was like, why am I still doing this? Like, why is it still long, and why is it still? So I tried to Mulan that junk. I took it out one day, and I measured it. I was like, oh, it's like 13 inches. And then I was like, "How?" And then it did not go well. Um, and like it was
Oh
all lopsided, but I was like, cool, 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 cool. So I went to the school. They were so upset. They were so mad. And they were like,
no.
"Why'd you do
Yeah.
that?" And I was like, "Cause I told you I would." And they were like, "But we could have compromised." I was like, "We're not compromising on my hair. Like I said, I want it gone." So then they fixed it up some. So now it's just doing whatever it wants to do right now. Um, It's real twisty right now, and it's longer than what like. There's some pieces that it looks shorter, but it still gets there.
Yeah.
Um,
And that's the compromise, Like a nice little compact fro. You have to do
right.
a massive chop.
Yeah. I mean, well, it was a massive chop. I looked at that bag and I was like, "That's a lot of hair. It's a lot of hair."
I don't know if I paid attention to the hair.
But
I was
I
just happy
did.
it was gone.
I saw it.
Shaw kept asking me, "Are you okay with this much? Do you like it?
I was like, "You all right?"
Are you okay?"
And I was like, she's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "All right, I'm gonna cut off some more. I'm just checking, checking in, make sure you're all right."
Yeah, man. I was ready. I was ready. I was just like, if I'm bald, I'm bald. I don't care.
So I
Just get
go.
it gone.
So I be.
Get it gone. Yeah.
Definitely an easier life.
hmm
Uh,
I've been getting a lot of compliments. They're like, "Oh, I keep getting you got a nice shaped head." Somebody at work said that. Like, everybody can't pull that off. You got a nice shaped head for it. I'm like, thank you.
that's hilarious.
I
That's
feel like more people can pull it off than people think.
I don't think so.
I think so.
I don't. I mean, cause you ever this sounds so bad. I don't know, maybe not. Like I feel like when I see black men and they be bald, I'd be like, okay. And I mean there'd be some black men where I'd be like, no. But I feel like sometimes, a lot of times, many times, I see white men and they be bald and I'd be like, it don't look like how I thought it would look. It'd be fine
Mm.
like from this angle, but then they turn and I'd be like, why ain't it why ain't it
Maybe I
coming in?
I haven't seen a lot of them, so I can't weigh in.
Like skin bald white men.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I'm trying to think. Who do I know that's? I don't know a lot. I feel like a lot of them got the coldie that I know. They be rocking the coldie.
What is that?
Like,
The coldest sack? The
Oh,
I can't.
I just be saying words.
The cold. That's funny.
yeah.
Terrible. I had the daggone band-aid, y'all.
Oh, your story. Wait, is this your
I'm not.
throwback
I'm
story?
not telling. No, no. I do have a throwback story. Well, it's a random story. It's real random. So we went to North Carolina, to visit John's family. Like it was a
Say
big
that again. You went to where?
North Carolina.
Oh, it sounded like you had an accent, and I was like, when did he get an accent?
No, North Carolina. We went there to visit John's family. And then I was just thinking about like different times that I've been in Puerto Rico. And I remember the first time that I went and we went to John's grandfather's house. And then John's grandfather, he's there and he's like feed me food like straight off of the banana tree. Like I'm just eating. That banana was not ripe. It was hard and it was crunchy, and I was eating it though, and I was
Crunch.
like, yeah, it was like not ready. I was like, this joint is still green, but I was like, I'm gonna eat it. And then this man comes up to me and was just like rapping. I mean, and that's in Spanish. I have no clue. what we're talking about. And he's going. And then like he's crying and I'm like, I don't why is he crying? Then he takes out this picture out of his wallet and this little black boy and I was like,
Oh, you reminded him of his baby, huh?
so then he just then he's hugging me and I was like, I don't know what is happening. And John, so then he's like, huh, huh. And he like gets in his car and goes away.
Aw.
And then I was like, John, what just happened? He's like, oh, like you you reminded him of his son.
Hmm.
And I was like,
Aw.
Now I see a random black man and go hug him. That's crazy.
I mean, that I don't know what made me think about that. I mean, well, I guess I was just thinking about being black. So then that whole time it was just random stuff. We were in Sam's Club and they had samples, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get the samples, big pack, but whatever. I'm gonna I'm gonna eat the samples. So then they had these cakes. They got vanilla cake and a chocolate cake, and I'm like, mm. So I go up, and the person they speaking blah 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 hand me the chocolate cake, and I was like,
Of
hand me the
course.
chocolate cake. I want the vanilla cake, and then it was like chocolate cake. Cause you black. And I was like,
Obviously, he don't like chocolate like that. You ain't seen his husband.
Yo.
I was like, "Mm, give me the vanilla one too."
Like, you ain't seen his husband. Obviously, he want the vanilla.
Get that man the vanilla.
So I don't know. I just was randomly thinking about that one day, and I was like, I should tell y'all this on the podcast.
You
But
know what? I
I,
can't even talk about you. Cause that's us. I want vanilla. I don't want the chocolate.
like, I mean, I just was in a, like it's hot. Like, give me something light.
What? What? That's racist.
I mean, like airy, the taste,
Oh, dang. That's crazy.
not.
You lucky I'm not the one making these clips no more. Because Opus is not going to pull this out.
They,
Opus will pull this out. You want controversy? Clip.
that's true. Um,
Yo.
but yeah, I was just thinking when we were there, like it was just so live, like because John family, I don't know, it was we just sitting there, and then John dad just like he sees a guitar in the corner of the room. He go pick up the guitar. I'm like, dang, I didn't know he could play the guitar. He starts singing, he starts screaming. I said, oh, he started hitting that guitar. This man had no clue what he was doing. I was like, okay. Then somebody came out. They had the cheese grater. They was going because they was looking for it. Had the cheese, but then there was some drums, and then they singing, and I was just like, man, this is it. It was for hours too, and I was just enjoying. They was dancing, and I was like, yes. And it was just so much
He don't
fun.
know how to
Oh,
play it. That's funny.
And I was like, we don't have something like that. Like, I feel like Americans, or not that they're not Americans, but like culturally, we don't have like a thing that. But I feel like black people would do like
black
random
people
songs.
do.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna say there's like random songs. Like if somebody starts humming it or singing it, it's gonna catch
yeah.
on.
But it was just like,
Especially churchy black people.
yeah, it was just a moment. It was good.
Yeah, I get that.
It was fun.
Well, tell your Band Aid story real quick before we get into.
Tell both of y'all
Don't
story.
tell my
Don't you
story.
hate?
Do not tell my story.
Don't
So,
y'all hate? No, I need to say it. I need to say it. What is wrong with y'all? What is wrong with people in general that don't believe in washing their hands
so,
before cooking stuff, serving people, and not being aware of like germs in general? Like just stop. Like we
so,
came out of COVID, and do you remember the one main lesson that we had in COVID? How to wash your hands. And people don't even know how to do that. Still crazy.
so
Yeah.
the three of us were having a conversation about some stuff, and this kind of like it was just that conversation was in the back of my head this entire time. So I was at this party, And I'm carrying Kindle, and I'm like starving. I am so hungry. And there's a thing of bagels, and I'm like, I'm about to get this bagel with Kendall, and she's like clingy. I mean, she's very scared because she hates people. She's very shy, so she's like, "Don't let go of me." And I'm like, "Okay." So this person walks up, and they're like, "Hey, like, I noticed, you got the baby. Like, how about I help you?" And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, yeah. Like, I'm not gonna turn down help. Like, help me, cool." And they were like, "Yeah. So which bagel do you want?" And I was like, give me the plain one." And then they reached and grabbed the bagel, and I was like, "You ain't using
Did
no
they wear?
napkin." And I was like, "That's why." And then they looked at me and they were like, "Don't worry, my hands are clean." And I was like, "I have no clue who you are. Like, how do I know your hands are clean? Where did you just come from?" Um, so I was like, "Okay." So then they take my bagel and then they get a knife and they cutting the bagel in half. And I'm like, "Then your hands been on both sides of the bagel." And I was like, "That's cool, like, cause I'm
Both
hungry."
sides and the inside. Can't even eat the
So,
inside.
and I'm like, I'm I'm hungry. Like, I'm gonna eat this bagel. Like, cause they're like, oh, which cream cheese do you want? Cause there's like so many cream cheeses. Give me the plain one, like just the plain. But then watching their hands be like in the cream cheese, cause it was just like, they smearing it and it's like on their hand and they're like, let me put a little bit on. It's like, okay. I was like, you know what? They said their hands was clean because they clean. They're not gonna tell me their hands was clean and it wasn't. So then they were like, "You want the other side of the bagel, cream cheese too?" And I was like, "No, it's okay. I'll eat it like a sandwich." So like,
Yo.
I'll eat it like a sandwich. But then I looked, and their hand, they had a band-aid wrapped around one of their fingers, and I was like, I can't eat this. I can't eat
Now he was contemplating eating it this whole time. That's the straw right
because I'm
there.
because I was
Yo.
hungry. I was like, it's fine. I was like, I had emergency before I came. I'm gonna be okay. But then I was sitting at the table and I'm just looking at that bagel, and that bagel was looking at me, and I was watching them at their table, and I was just waiting for them to turn so I could get up and run to the trash can.
Yo.
I could not get to that trash can so fast enough.
Yo.
But that was the bagel, the Band-Aid story.
I
Mm.
guarantee you, them hands was not washed with that band-aid. They stuck that finger out.
They
They would
ain't washed their hands at
they
all.
would
We
have
ain't
had
talking
me
about wash with the
if they would have
band-aid.
hit the
Everybody sticking their finger out to wash their hands with a band-aid.
finger lick. Mm.
He probably just finished eating his bagel. Like, oh, let me go get another bagel. Oh, you need help?
You need help?
I
He
did
just
watch
finished.
them make a bagel right before too.
Yeah, he licked all his fingers and was like, "My hands are clean. Ain't nothing on them. You see,
Bruh.
it's nothing on them. That's how my kids be. My hands are clean. It's nothing. Look, that don't make your hands clean."
But it was rough, y'all. But
Yeah.
I was debating it. I was like, I'm about to bite this until that Band-Aid came.
Mm,
That emergency was
Bruh.
about to protect me, my soul.
bruh.
Yeah,
You gotta live. You got a baby.
yeah.
That's a terrible way to go
Exactly.
out.
I ain't eat it that time.
Mm-mm.
But yeah.
Mm-mm.
So I'm gonna pass this to Moyo because I don't know
She
what's
got
coming
the
up next because she got all the questions and all. We ask you guys. We turned into Instagram, TikTok, all of the social media networks. Did you guys respond? Not at all.
Not one, not one person responded. But because I am who I am, I text people personally because y'all not just gonna look at it and not respond. Like, come on. The only person that did not get like they weren't understanding that I was saying send a message is just mother-in-law because I'm like, hey, we're gonna do a Q&A. Do you have any questions? She's like, no.
She's like, I heard enough.
She
I guess
said, she
so.
said, she said, I love the episodes. I don't have any questions. Like, girl, we're trying to do a Q&A. We need questions in order to answer those questions. But I didn't even respond
Yo.
to her because I was just like, it's okay. I have enough. We have enough questions. Honestly, we might have too many now. Like,
All right. Well,
if people started asking too deep stuff, and I was like, it's gonna drag. So let's start. Um, da, 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 da. This question says, I want to know more about postpartum. Actually, maybe I shouldn't do this one first. Okay, because it's very broad. So
Okay.
her main question in this though is, uh, what was your doctor experiences like? Did they advocate for you? Was it traumatic, like dealing with your doctors and your that whole thing? That's the main question. And then part of that was also, did you guys have black or white doctors, and do you feel like it matters?
That's what I was gonna start with. I was like, well, first of all of my doctors were black. One was actually a UMBC alumna, who was my high risk doctor. She went to UMBC, graduated from UMBC. Um, and then my OB was a black woman. Um, my diabetes care person who helped me with like the dieting stuff and like my medicine adjustments, she was Latina. So I've pretty much my whole care team was people of color. So I don't know, I felt taken care of for the most part. I felt my OB was very proactive. Um, about anything, like with the like me telling her, oh, I'm just extra itchy at night. She was like, oh, we're ordering this blood test just to make sure we roll it out. And turns out it was cholestasis. And so that was communicated to my high risk doctor, and she was like, yeah, you're getting induced early. And I'm like, but I don't want to. And she's like, I hear you, but you're still getting induced early.
Mhm.
And we'll make sure you have like the whole care team there, just as you're staying there. My delivery was done by a black man. Did not like him. He was a little too arrogant, personally. Like he was within my network. I never saw him, but he was, yeah, within the network of doctors that I could have seen. But yeah, I didn't really like him for my delivery. Because my husband even asked to like see the surgery, and he's like, no. And mind you, my husband's a medical professional, so if he's asking, he's asking because he wants to see and he knows what he's asking about. And the doctor's like, well, plenty of men have asked and then they pass out after they see. And he's like, you already know like my credentials, so why are you denying? But he's like, I'm not about to press it. Like, as long as I'm here, we'll be all right. So yeah, I didn't really like him. But he did a good job. Everybody kept saying how well of a job he did with closing me back up. So I guess he did a good job. But um I could tell in the OR that the other medical professionals didn't really like him. Like just the way some people like I would see them walking past and they'd either like suck their teeth or roll their eyes and I'm like, well, this doesn't bode well for a C-section. But but yeah, I think for the most part, my best experiences really were with mostly Black women, and women of color. Like even down to the nurse that advocated for me to get out of ICU earlier, she was a Black woman, and she like at one point like came in there and was like, listen, like you have to hold it together for your daughter. Like we're gonna work to get you out of here, but you have to like do your best to do what you can to get better so you can get to her. And I'm like, I appreciate you coming in here and talking to me because everybody else is kind of like, oh, here you go, here's this, here's that. And then, just doing their job and coming out. So, yeah, I just felt like I was more taken care of by Black women than I was by, I guess, other staff members that came in. Like, there was one medical student who came in when after I had the baby, after we went to the postpartum unit, and she was just like talking to me. And mind you, I'm on pain meds and I'm sleep deprived. So I don't know that this is reality. And she's just asking me questions, and I'm like, what? And she's like, yeah, so you can leave like tomorrow. And I'm like, I just got here. Like, I'm not ready to go. Like, I can barely walk. Like, what are you talking about? She's like, yeah, everything looks good. According to the answers to your questions, you can leave. So when the doctor came in, it was a black lady. I told her, I was like, I don't, I don't want to see her again. Like, she was telling me this, she was telling me that. I didn't think that was appropriate. I didn't think that was right. Da, 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 da. And she came in the next morning and apologized. She's like, I didn't mean that you had to leave. I was just saying you could leave. And I'm like, girl,
Mm,
get out of my face. But yeah, I think going back to the same point, black women doctors, black women nurses, women of color in general have been like really helpful along with my journey.
Yeah, for mine, so the way my OB office works is that when you're pregnant, you have to see every single doctor because you don't know which one is going to deliver your child. So every week you meet a new doctor, and I guess it's like 5 or 6 of them. And there was only one black woman, and I don't remember. At some point, she was my primary because I was like, oh, because I talked to her and I was like, oh, I like you. And she became my primary for a little bit. But then I ended up switching to the person I have now because she just felt more personal. Like she remembered stuff that I said or would like ask about things that the others weren't asking. Like the others were more of this is a rotation. I just got to talk to you because I have to talk to you in case I see you, but she kind of remembered more, and she wasn't a black woman. She was just somebody who cared, like somebody who actually cared about me and what was going on. So even for all of my checkups, she was asking more questions than others would. Cause I'm very much I'm all right. That's fine. This is fine. And she would ask more questions to get me to just talk, tell me what's going on versus asking me yes or no questions. Um, so I still use her now. She's still my doctor, and she's a white woman, but I like her. And I didn't go back to the black lady. I felt like she just wasn't. I mean, it could also be the setting that
mm,
just the office she's in is not like that, and she just kind of fell in line because she also was one of the newer doctors. Because I switched to her like, oh, a black lady, like excitedly, but I think she fell in line with what the practice already was. And she may have also been like a newer doctor. I didn't know how long she had been practicing at the time, but she just wasn't, it just wasn't for me. It just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
So I went with the person who was just more personable. And that's the same even with my kids' doctor. Um, there is a black woman, and anytime we have emergency, like my son will be like, oh, got a low fever. I'm rushing to the doctor. I'm going to go see what's up. So most of the time we go, not every time. There's a few times where his normal doctor, we see him, but there's a black woman and she's Nigerian and she's really good though, but she's new. So we didn't want to switch over to her because I was like, I remember I jumped too quick with mine. So let me stick with the one I like because they had one pediatrician and I was just like, he does not care that much. Like, and then I switched to someone else and the kids like her. Like they talk to her and she engages at their level so that they feel comfortable. And that's all I want. Like somebody who makes you feel comfortable. So that's all I really was looking for. Um, and I feel like two different people delivered my kids because of just how things were going. And I guess I don't remember who kept saying one more push. Which one was it?
It
Because
was
I
a
know
white lady.
okay, so I think that's who I ended up going. That's who I ended up going with though. That same white lady. And I don't even think I met her when I was doing my rotations because she was supposed to be the next doctor I would meet, and then she just delivered my baby, and then after that we just stayed close, and she became my doctor forever, forever. But now. My son, I was delivered by an Indian woman who was my second. I'll be switching doctors. I'll be switching because I've had maybe all of them in there except for there's a man who I've never had him as my primary OB. Um, but pretty much everybody else I have, there was an older lady who I thought I was gonna stick with the whole time, and then she decided to retire, and I was like, "Girl, don't leave me." She's like, "No, I have other capable people," and I'm like, I was with her from the time I started going to do Pap smears and all of that up until she retired, and I was just like, "I'm about to have a kid. Like, why would you leave now? I need you to stay." Because she was one of those people too that was like, she talked to her patients, she knew her patients. So me and her, she basically grew up, or I watched me grow up until the point I was having kids. And she was like, "I'm so sorry, I don't do like labor and delivery anymore." She focused more on like mammograms and stuff. Like she was retiring, but she was like phasing out some of the people she was already doing um treatments for and things like that. So I think she was just wrapping that up, and she was getting rid of all of her young patients so that when she retired, they would already be settled. Um, but yeah, I don't think that it matters. It could matter because I also didn't have any complications. So there was nothing unusual that someone may have to look for, like, oh, this is common in black people. Like mine was very standard stuff. Like nothing crazy happened in either of my pregnancies, so that probably helped. So I might not be the right person to be like, no, it doesn't matter. But definitely somebody that's personable and somebody who cares about you and
Yeah,
wants to know what's going on and listens when you say, hey, something doesn't feel right, or,
yeah.
because that was my issue with the anesthesiologist with my first kid was they were not listening to me. And that was a problem. Like, and my husband had to step in. Like, I'm telling you something, I'm telling you that you're not doing something right. Like, I know my body better than you know my body. You might be a doctor, but you don't know what I feel. Um, but yeah, I don't think it matters. I think it's more so how comfortable you are, stuff like that.
I concur with that because I did not mention my original OB was also a black woman, but I had switched to the other one because she went out on maternity leave. So when she came back from maternity leave, I immediately switched. Immediately. And now in hindsight, I'm like, she was going through postpartum and she was back at work.
Mm,
So it makes sense why she was kind of like dropping the ball on stuff or not taking like some of the stuff I was saying seriously. So I think it does matter, like how comfortable you feel, how heard you feel. Um, yeah, and just like making sure that they address your concerns or and ask deeper questions. Like especially pregnancy, because you can feel overwhelmed in a doctor's office because there's just a lot of questions, a lot of new information, and you're kind of just like, all right,
yeah,
all right. So yeah, I think if you feel comfortable being able to address like, hey, like even questions about like sex and questions about like what's going on with your body, changes in your mood, like as long as you feel like you can talk to your doctor about it, I think that's the doctor to go with.
yeah,
Because my primary is a white woman and I will never leave that woman. She is like one of the best doctors I've ever had because she will send me to research, challenge, if I have a question, or if I have issues with things, she's like, okay, let's talk about it. Here's what the research says. Here's what my experience has been. What are your hesitations? So, yeah, I think it's just getting a doctor that cares.
yeah, yeah. Sean, did you have any experience with the doctor when you guys got Kindle?
I could
Or
not
no?
tell you. I don't know who was there because they was in and they was out. And I was like, I don't know who any of you people are.
But did you have nurses to help y'all transition, or they just gave y'all the baby and was like, good luck?
I mean, we had our own room. There were nurses. The first I remember we went in, and the nurse was like, "All right, let me teach you how to change this diaper." And I was like, "Okay." I feel like I ain't seen a nurse ever since. Like I was like, "Dang, I thought they changed the diapers." John and I were changing every single one of them. We were doing it all. So they would come in like, "Did you feed the baby?" Yeah, and they were like, "Okay." And then they would do like, "All right, we got to do this test." Okay, and that was really it.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah,
We changed the diapers. We fed her. I mean, they would rarely do either of those things.
Yeah, I was like, y'all, I thought y'all was gonna do this. That's what I was told.
Nah.
You can ask. I think if you ask,
Yeah,
they
yeah, they'll
will.
do it.
You do.
But you could have asked. They would have done it.
Oh,
Because
okay.
some people are like, can you just take this baby for me for a couple
Hmm.
hours? Like some people do that.
No, no, it was not us. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so next question. Did you do what you felt was right for your body, like birth position wise, walking, standing, etc.? Or did you do what they told you to do?
I'm out on all of these.
I think for me, let's see. For the first kid, I did what they told me to do for the most part. Like I I want to say yeah, but I mean, once I got the epidural, I could only do what they told me to do. I couldn't even move. For my son, I stayed home as long as I felt that I should, and then I went to the hospital, and I wasn't really doing a lot of like walking around and stuff. I'm not sure why I didn't, because I probably could have helped with stuff, but I don't know. I guess I did what my body told me to do with him, and you got to go back to that episode because it wasn't really a me. It wasn't really a me thing. It was a my body is doing this, so let's go. Um, but I wasn't one that was like, oh, I'm not gonna do this or I'm not gonna do that in terms of like getting pitocin or getting. Well, I didn't want to get that epidural for him, but everything else, I was like, I'm open to whatever suggestions if I can do it. And a lot of it, I just couldn't do. Like, oh, we need you to sit like this. It ain't happening. Like the baby's coming out, and my legs gonna be how my legs gonna be. Like, whatever's comfortable for me. Um. So yeah, yeah. Jess.
uh, I feel like I got to do what I wanted to do for the most part. I feel like I would have liked to maybe have I don't want to say studied more as far as like Pitocin and all that stuff. Because I feel like that was the only thing that I'm like, oh, maybe I should have like tried something different. But for the most part, I was fine. There was no option for me to do no damn home birth. That was not an option, never going to be an option for me. Um, as far as like C-section or, vaginal delivery, I would have preferred, a vaginal delivery, but we had to go with the C-section, and that's where it was just kind of like I just did what I could with the options that I had. Like even with trying to like get dilated more, I was doing like the exercises. They gave me the peanut ball thing. I'm trying to do what I can even with the epidural, and bounced on the ball. I did the what do you call it, the laughing gas before I even did the epidural. So I felt like I got to try all my options, and the options weren't optioning enough for me to do the vaginal, so we just did what we had to do.
Yeah,
So yeah, I didn't feel like I was necessarily like forced or denied options.
yeah. Okay, the next one is kind of related. It said, "Did you have a birth plan and did you follow it? If not, what changed and what would you do differently if you could?"
Mm. We did write up a birth plan. It wasn't super complicated. I felt like when I first heard about doing birth plans, I always thought, oh, they have to be super like detailed. And I'm just like, do you want to breastfeed? Do you want to hold your baby immediately after they come out? Do you want them wipe them down before you hold them? Like, it doesn't have to be super detailed. It can be, oh, I want the lights at 30% and I want smooth jazz playing
Yeah,
as I deliver. But no, ours was pretty simple. I just wanted my husband to read all the medications before they administered them. Um, I wanted to hold my baby. I wanted to breastfeed. Um, what else? Um, yeah, I just wanted I think for us, it was the main thing was just confirming the medications before they administered it, because it also was for them to also double check before they gave us anything. Um, some people did it, some people didn't. More people did, I think, than didn't. So I think that's a good thing. But Yes, I feel like I noticed some nurses didn't read it, some nurses did, but for the most part, almost everybody read it and abided by it.
Yeah. I did not have a birth plan for my first. I mean, I think in my head I wanted to not get an epidural. That was my only like plan. Like I'm gonna go in here. I'm not gonna let nobody stick me in my back. And then the first time I ended up doing it, and I kind of wish I didn't because I think it would have prepared me for the second time, or maybe I wouldn't have had a second time. Who knows? Like I don't know, but I feel like I wish I stuck to what I had planned. Like go in here, don't let them do it because that was probably the most traumatic part for me was not being in control and not knowing what was going on. And then the second time, um, just I went ahead and did it the way I wanted to do it, but there were still some parts, and I think there's a question about that. Like, is there? Um, I guess we'll get to it, but it was still more things that I wish I knew I would have known before I put together a birth plan. I feel like I should have talked to more moms, which is
That's
hard for
fair.
me. I feel like the only mom I wanted to talk to was my own, and I don't have that option. So I just didn't really talk to anybody. I just went on the internet, looked up stories, and just went with that. But I should have talked to actual moms who had been through it, who weren't going to exaggerate their stories or like make it seem like it's just,
It's a
oh, it's just,
breeze.
yeah, it's just, baby just comes out. Like, I heard those kind of stories, and I'm just like, sound a little suspicious, but it is what it is.
That's on the
Um,
eighth child.
I don't no, no. Um, but yeah, I wish I talked to more people who had different experiences, who weren't just trying to be like, oh, it'll be fine, oh, it'll be fine. Like you don't get real advice from people. Um, okay, this is a question
Wait,
everybody can
I can
answer.
answer that one
Oh, good.
actually. So because they do work with us to do um, like birth plans. So we work with the birth mom. So like with Kendall's mom, we didn't really do much. But the failed adoption, we definitely like were involved because they have like who's going to be in the room, like with like if they decide that they want one of you in the room, if they want both of you. But then you have to decide like who gets the wristband. So we ended up deciding that John would get the wristband because I had no clue what to do with a baby. I was like, I don't know how to hold no baby. John, you do this. Um, so John he was wristbanded. So like I couldn't even be like there were times I couldn't even be in the room. Like I couldn't be by myself with the baby. Like John or like Kendall's mom would have to be there. Um, so like that was really the only thing that we had on there besides them figuring out like whether we would be in the room when the baby was being delivered, which we were not, and things like that. But for the most part, that was simple for us.
Did he not want you guys in the room, or y'all decided you wouldn't be in the room?
Not want us in the room.
Okay, that
Um,
makes
yeah. I mean, the failed adoption it was flip flop. So it was like, I don't want you in the room. I want you in the room. I don't want you in the room. I want you in the room. So then it was like, I'm going into labor. Like, where are you guys? Come down here. Like, I want you in the room. And then, I mean, we missed it, obviously, uh,
yeah.
but yeah, we were not. I mean, but some people do, decide to have the adopted parents in the room, but that was not our case.
Yeah. Okay, so the next section was how did the dads slash husbands help in getting you all through any issues? Were they helpful or not? Were they helpful or not? First of all, did you have any issues? I guess it would be the first thing.
Hell yeah.
Like, see this story here.
Yeah, I feel like, yeah, I talked about a lot of it in the other episode, but like, I mean, a lot of pain. Um, for me, it was just a lot of information at the appointments. And so at a point, I would kind of just like zone out. Well, let me not say zone out, but I would just feel overwhelmed. I could feel myself getting anxious and overwhelmed. And so my husband would kind of be that person to kind of sort through all the information to ask the questions that needed to be asked or questions we came up with beforehand. And, if he wasn't going to be there, we would sit down and like write out the questions, or he'd text me the questions to ask. And then I put them on, like a note. And then if the doctor answered, I put the answer in the note. So he definitely helped me stay organized as far as like the pregnancy went. And then, of course, once we had the baby, he was the most mobile. So, he fed her, he went to see her when she was staying in the nursery and I was in ICU, so he would see both of us. Um, when I came home, yeah, he was working, so it was harder for him to be around more, but when he was home, he was doing what he can to, make sure that I was comfortable. If I could breastfeed, he'd help me do that. If I couldn't, then he, help make a bottle. Um, Yeah, my husband's amazing. Amazing support person.
He gonna clip this. uh, my husband was helpful. With my first pregnancy, he was the one who had to check them people that was doing the epidural because I kept trying to talk and them people was not listening, so he had to step in. And once he spoke, they switched doctors, and the person did it on the first try. After that, like y'all really playing games. With my son, he was helpful that in that he didn't let me not do my plan. So he was very like, this is the plan. We sticking to it, and we did. Um, After the babies, my husband, I mean, we had our system, so he mostly fed them during the night while I was pumping, so I wouldn't have to be doing two things at once. So he was up with me at all feedings, and then we all go back to sleep as a happy family. Like, like there was no you are the one doing everything. Like we split things as much as we could. After his knee surgery, it was a little harder, but for like feedings, it was the same because he didn't have to do much. But I was doing more of the house stuff as well as baby stuff. So, and that hasn't really changed because I feel like once we had our kids and he had his surgery, he kind of backed away slowly from house stuff. Um, but I mean, nowadays he does dishes most of the time. So like he's been gone for a week and a couple days, and I've been doing dishes, and I'm like, dang, I actually haven't been doing dishes like that. Like I'll wash as I cook, but after dinner, I don't clean the dishes. And I was like, I never really paid attention to that. So he does do his share around the house because we both work. Because I feel like that's the thing. People don't be acknowledging the fact that women work, so we can't do everything in the house like back in the day. Like we all got to do the stuff. Um, so that's our thing. I think we are learning to balance things, and as our kids get older, they will be brought into it. Like, okay, now you are part of the washing dishes and cleaning. Um, but yeah, I think my husband was helpful. I wouldn't say he wasn't helpful because he was. He couldn't like go run downstairs and get something like if we forgot something. So we had a whole setup in our room. We had a refrigerator. We had the bottle warmer. Like we had everything set up. So if I pumped and I had two bottles, I would put one out and then I would put the other one in the refrigerator. If for some reason, so in the morning, I would take whatever was in the refrigerator and put in the fridge downstairs for him and get them all downstairs. So that they could do whatever they do on the lower level. But it was a lot of teamwork. We were a team. Yeah. Sean.
Oh, I was like, I didn't know if this was a question for me. Um, yeah, I mean, I feel like we do things pretty equally. Uh, Usually food wise, we rotate. Um, I would say yeah, I mean, for the most part, I tried to do more of the night stuff just because John has a hard time falling back to sleep, and I can go back to sleep really easily. So it's like, well, if Kendall's up at 2, then if John gets up, then he's gonna be up for the rest of the day. So I'm like, well, I can just do it, and then I'll just sleep later. which is fine because once he's up, then he's up. Um, so that kind of worked well for us while that lasted. I mean, because sometimes John would still wake up anyway. I'm like, but if you're gonna be up, then I can go back to sleep. We both don't need to be up. But
Hmm.
Yeah.
yeah, for the most part, we are pretty even.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so this question is is this when you expected to have kids? This was my question because I was trying to make sure the polls was working and I was like, let me submit a question and see if we actually get a notification. Y'all just wasn't really I forgot to say y'all supposed to like, share, subscribe, and all that kind of stuff. We're supposed to say that in the beginning now because that's what someone told me. But anyways, I asked us the question, which was, is this when y'all expected to have kids? Do you think you had kids at the right time?
Yeah, I feel like so. I mean, we were overseas. Actually, we tried to adopt overseas as well. I don't think many people really know that. But we did try there, but they were like, "You can't take this baby away," and we were like, "Oh, dang, sorry." I mean, but once we got back, we have our house, we have cars, like we're financially stable, we're in good health, so I think it was a good time for us to do so.
So you would have wanted to have kids earlier.
No,
It didn't quite. Well, you said you tried.
yeah, I mean, but that was like I feel like it was the same time frame. Like,
Oh, okay. I guess.
I mean, it's close.
It was close, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was within. I mean, that was like 2021 ish, 2020, 2021, 2021 ish. Yeah,
Wait, during COVID?
yeah, I feel like it was.
Interesting. So y'all thought we on lockdown. Let's go get a baby.
Hmm.
What else was we doing?
Okay.
Let's make this
Okay.
boom happen. I think. I mean, my numbers, my timeline might be mixed up, but it was definitely. I feel like around that.
True. Everybody knows I wanted kids early. That was
I
a
tried to tell you.
no, but well, okay. When I was younger, I wanted kids at like 23, 24. But after my mom passed, and I also wanted a bunch of kids, bunch of kids. And after my mom passed, I still wanted kids early, but not as many. Like I was like, oh, I could do four. And here I am with two. But I was like, I do three or four. That sounds about right. And then I got married at 24, 25, pretty much 25, I want to say, right? That makes sense. 25. I got married at like 25. And so I was already kind of outside of I want to have kids young to me because I'm thinking young is like 23, 24, which is kind of crazy now because what was I going to do with a baby at that age? But I could have had one. People do it. And I could be having some school age kids right now instead of these toddlers. And well, I got a toddler and a what's after
School age
toddler?
kid.
A big girl? A
A
big
big
kid?
girl. No. I feel like there's a word. But anyways, school age, I guess. Um, do I think I have had kids at the right time? I think I would have been I think that our marriage would have struggled if we had kids earlier. I think that the time that it took for us to have the kids, because it's not like we didn't try. We tried to have kids. It just, the timing was always off. Like he would be always deployed, not deployed. They did like these trainings. He would always be away at training during the time that we probably could have kids. And so just like stuff like that was happening. And then he got deployed for however many months to a year, almost a year. And then by the time he came back, I'm like, well, I can't get pregnant right now. I'm trying to fit into this wedding dress because we were doing our wedding ceremony. So we did the wedding ceremony, and I was like, all right, bet now it's time. And it was time. We had our kid like 9 months later, so it worked out. So I think it worked out. It's not when I
Yeah.
wanted to, but it worked out. It was the right time. But I think
I
any
just,
time would be the right time if you really wanted it like that. Would I have been? I could have been. I probably would have been a single mother though. I probably would have been out here because if I was talking crazy to him like that in the beginning, would he have stuck around? He ain't know. He wouldn't have known what he was missing. Like now he'll fight for the love. He'll fight for us now. But back then he might have been like, oh no.
I can't.
yeah, I cut my losses.
Yeah.
But no, I do remember, I distinctly remember having a conversation with you while y'all were in, um, I'm about to say Mississippi, in Hawaii. And I think this was after you found out he was going to be deployed and y'all were still trying. And I'm like, this man don't want you to be pregnant and having this baby while he's not there. And you're like,
Yeah.
but we can still do it. We can still make it work. I'm like, I don't think this is what y'all want.
Yeah. Well, the thing I think in that scenario, I would have been pregnant while he was gone, and then when he came back, I would have had either had the newborn or about to have the newborn. But it would have been stressful because he would have been in Hawaii. He was still in Hawaii. Like he came back to Hawaii, and came back to Maryland, and I would have been going to all the appointments by myself. I'd have been feeling some type of way.
You would have.
Yeah. Yeah. So it worked out.
Um, I feel like we had ours sooner than we wanted, but I think it was good timing. We not getting younger. Uh, the expectation was to get pregnant last year, not be pregnant, having the kid here. But but no, I think it really worked out. Like even the fact that I got pregnant at the end of 2023, spent most of my pregnancy during the winter, so I'm not going through the summer pregnant blessing. So I think the timing was right. I think the timer was right. And I feel like I've also had the example of like family members having kids after 35. Like, so for me, it was a norm to have your kids in your 30s. Like, having your kids in your 20s is like being a teenage mom to me because, like, a lot of my family members didn't really have their kids super, super early. And then there were some that did, and then they had more kids in their 30s. So I was just like,
Mm.
oh, well, that's just normal.
Yeah, I
So,
think in my family, all kids are had before you turn 30. Ain't maybe 32. Like, and then you pushing it because somebody gonna be like, why are you still trying to have kids? Like, everybody busts their kids out
Not bust
super
them out.
quick.
that was a wow.
Real quick. Get it over with.
That's wild.
So that was my only, like, I never knew people had kids starting in their 30s. Like, to me, that was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Last question. Knowing what you know now, is there anything that you wish you would have known before going into labor or giving birth?
I'm out.
You
I was out of all these questions.
Aw.
should have asked your people for
I
questions.
did.
No,
Just not directly. Somebody
nah.
even messaged me today, like, you're welcome for the questions. Did you not ask any questions that I could answer?
Oh, no, she didn't.
Exactly. Don't message me saying some daggone you're welcome. And they wasn't relevant to me. But anyways, back
I
to the question.
I think that this question though can be, um, is there anything you can add on before having a kid as well? Like, is there
Yeah,
anything
definitely.
you wish you would have known or yeah before going into this process? I think for me, one thing I would have liked to know, and maybe we should just do like I'll do one, you do one, and if something pops to your head, say it. But one thing is that if you don't get an epidural and you tear, you got to get stitches, like, and that don't hurt. I wish I knew that because then I might have thought a little harder or been like, okay, maybe I should practice more of those non-tearing things. Like, I wasn't thinking about those videos as much because I wasn't really thinking about tearing. I was thinking that I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking. I was just thinking you push the baby out and then you keep it pushing. Like I wasn't I wasn't thinking about stitches after the fact. I wish I knew that.
Bruh, you over here thinking about tearing. That's all I could think about, and I ain't even. I didn't even have a vaginal birth. We over here doing the
Well,
massages and
I feel like I
everything.
mentioned that to you at the time, so maybe that's why it was like in your head, like, oh, I don't want to do that. Nobody
Yeah,
told me that.
that's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
So do y'all little stretches, just like the little, they be stretching
Hmm.
it out, making sure it's elastic.
Hmm.
Get somebody to do it for you. Get not somebody. Get your baby daddy or your man or whoever or your woman or
Because
your
you ain't gonna reach
spouse.
it. I tell you that now. You ain't gonna reach it.
I
Yeah,
text
do
my
all them
sister
stretches.
this.
Huh?
Yes.
I said I'm gonna text my sister this.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You
Hmm.
should. You got to do it, and I think you got to do it like daily, multiple times a day. Make sure that
I don't know
Jones.
about multiple, but
I feel like
multiple
the
probably
more
didn't
you
would
do it,
help.
yeah, the more you do it, the easier it's supposed to be.
I also had an 8 pound baby, so either way, I don't think she was gonna come out that way regardless.
No, because I watched a one girl. She does hypnobirthing, and she's had two kids now, and they were 10-pound kids, and she did not tear, and she be like in her zone, and I don't know how she got in that zone because I tried to breathe and it wasn't
That
working.
don't sound like passing out.
Oh, that is something I did not know. The shakes. You can get the shakes, dog. Like, you just get the shakes. Like, I don't know if it's anxiety, but apparently it's normal.
It's
Where,
stress
yeah, you just be like,
or shock. You
so,
shock.
yeah, the entire time they wrote, like, I think it was after they told me I was getting a C-section and they're rolling me in the room, I'm just shaking, shaking. And they put me on the table to do the surgery, and I'm shaking, like just shaking the whole time. And I'm like trying to breathe, and I can't really breathe, like deep breathing. And I'm like telling myself, okay, let's in for four, hold for four, box breath. I couldn't box breathe. I just,
Yeah. I had the shakes after my son, and they said it's basically like because you just went through something traumatic. Like,
yes, yes.
and they just gave me the warm blankets and was like, ride it out. And I was like, okay.
Not rot it out.
No,
Not looking
seriously,
like a
Yeah.
like
crackhead
There's
over
nothing they
there.
can do.
there's nothing. It's just you just
Your,
there
your
shaking.
body just eventually will be like, okay, we're okay. We're okay. Like your body just starts panicking.
Yeah, ain't
But
nobody
I,
tell me about the shakes.
yeah, I feel like mine was, well, maybe it's not weird. Maybe that's how it happens. But I felt like, okay, I already did the traumatic thing. Like I should be relaxing right now, not shaking. I'm done. You should have been shaking a while ago. Like it
Nah,
was real delayed.
nah, man. I think just the pain in general of a C-section. Like, I don't think it's the case for everybody. I think maybe I'm just different. I still have like pain in that area, but at this point I'm like used to it. But yeah, they're not fun. They're not fun. They
I mean,
hurt.
I
Ain't
think the
ain't no
feeling,
easy way out. I said that in the podcast before I was even pregnant. I'm like, that's the problem I have with having a kid. Ain't no easy way out.
there's not. And I feel like they always say it takes your body like a year or a year and a half or more to heal completely. So no matter which way you go, it's gonna be a minute to
Yeah,
recover
Mm.
for everything
yeah.
to kind of go back, if it even goes back to exactly where it goes. Because like sometimes I'll stretch and I feel like my womb, and I'm like, I shouldn't feel this. Like, but it's just
Not
like
your womb.
yes, because I'll feel it like it just feels like I stretch too much. Like I can't just be doing random things because I'll feel it tug. Like I feel a tug, and I'm like,
My
maybe I
face.
shouldn't do that.
You sure that's not your abs? The diastasis recti?
No, it's like it's like where my womb is.
Oh, okay. I thought you saying up here. That's why I was like,
No, no, not up.
that jump should have shrank by now.
Nah, not all the way up there.
Okay.
No, down in my like
The
where your
abdomen.
little mommy pouch supposed to be.
Oh, yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, it's real random, and it could be anything. I could get up wrong, and that joke be like, "Hey, girl, relax." Hey, I don't know if that goes away. Maybe I should ask some older people.
Or
Yeah.
your
It's a,
doctor.
Yeah, I should ask my doctor too.
Yeah,
But I feel like doctors say everything is normal. Every time you ask a doctor something, they're like, "Yeah, that's normal." Like, for
girl,
how long?
it's
When
been
is it over?
it's been 4 years now. I feel like you can ask, and they tell you.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask.
Mm.
I would have liked for someone to tell me that I should have been brushing these teeth
I knew you
before.
was gonna say that. That I was thinking about that, and I was like, he gonna bring it up. He gonna say
Like, because who knew you were supposed to be brushing these babies' gums? Like,
it. Yeah,
because
I.
the way we still be fighting, like, it's better now. And that should be like, I hate you. I'd be like, okay, like, but who knew? Who?
Everyone knew
I don't think they did. I don't think they did.
that. Maybe Nigerians have a very like ritualistic bath routine. So all of that is included. Like they rub the gums, they wash the tongue, like they do all of that during bath time. So that's all I've ever seen. So I thought that was standard. Like everybody knows that you you do a little
No,
thing, you
girl.
brush
No.
your tongue.
No. I ain't even. Somebody get. I mean, I told you we got the daggone toothbrush, and I was like, "This is a grown man toothbrush. This is not a baby toothbrush." So clearly, I'm supposed to wait because ain't nobody putting this
Oh,
daggone grown man toothbrush in this baby.
you supposed to have the little finger
That's not.
one.
I showed you the toothbrush we had. That joint was supersonic, whatever. I was like, no,
Not supersonic. No,
like
I would take the blame for that. I thought that was standard knowledge, but let's put it out there, everybody. Y'all gotta when the baby, as soon as the baby is born, you can start rubbing their little gums so that they have the feeling of yeah, somebody's gonna be trying to put something in my mouth that is
right.
not food.
What else?
Right.
That whole. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but that whole sleep when the baby sleep. That was not. That was not it for me. Like. It was not. When the baby was asleep, I was like, dang, this is my chance to take a shower. This is my chance to eat. Like, I, the sleep did not come right then. Like,
And don't and don't.
like,
That's the worst part. Like, you be exhausted and you can't go to sleep. That is that's the worst part. That was
You can
definitely
sleep
hard.
when the baby sleeps sometimes. I don't think that it's
Sometimes, not every time.
yeah, not
yeah.
every time. I feel like every nap you can't be sleeping every time this baby sleep. Oh, that's all they do in the beginning.
Yeah,
You're not getting
Yeah.
anything done.
I
And
mean,
then
'cause-
they abruptly wake you up, and then you be mad.
and I feel like people say, like, well, I guess it depends on what definition people use by newborn. But I was like, month 0 through 3, I was like, this is cool. I'm cruising. Then I was like, "Oh,
Uh-huh.
you noticing stuff? You know I'm walking away. You you want me?" Like then when she started crawling, I was so excited. Like she crawling, and then I was like, "Dang, I gotta follow you," and then walking. And then I got this tall baby. She over here like door. I was like, "No, stop." She's like table. She was holding on to the table. I was like. Get down. Get so yeah. Don't be in a rush to have them babies
Don't,
moving, because then
don't. We
you
not.
literally following them all day long. You finding out like, dang, I didn't know. Like I know my dishwasher gonna be broken soon because Kendall be like, let me open it, let me pull it out, let me shake it, and I'll be like, girl, like, why? So yeah, don't rush it.
Yeah.
I'd be in a rush. I like the more independent kids. Like in theory, sometimes I'm like, okay, slow down, but then I'm like, actually, let me just teach you how to do this so that you got it.
Yeah, it was
'Cause my
great
kid,
until I was running around.
yeah, get your exercise in.
That's not like I'm over here like Kendall loved to she'd go to the dishwasher and then she'd take out a fork and a knife and then she'd be like I'd be like, Chucky, get back here. Like, no, like what you running for? Like, where are you going? And then she I'm like, girl, she opened up and she grabbed the daggone like vegetable oil or the olive oil can thing. And we could buy at Sam's Club and Costco. They'd be the big ones. And they'd be kadoom. And she'd be rolling right with it. And I'm like,
Y'all need a baby proof. That's why we have the magnet locks on
Now,
everything.
we
I
have
was
we,
ready.
we have them on certain ones, and she'd be like, "That's fine. I'm gonna just go to the other ones." I'm like, or
All of them.
the ones that are locked, she'd be like, I'm like, "Stop it." And then she's like, "That's cool. You gonna unlock it soon." It seems like the refrigerator. You open it, she'd be like, "I don't care where she be at. She be downstairs." Next thing you know, she be calling up the stairs like, "I heard it. I heard it. I'm here." I'm like, "Leave me alone. Why are you in the refrigerator?"
Got something to get.
Yeah, and she take the prune juice out every time.
Gotta stay mobile.
So yeah,
That's funny.
don't be rushing that.
What's something I wish I would have known?
Oh, I can tell y'all from our recent scare, babies be playing with they spit. So if you hear like a rustling, like in their chest, sometimes they just playing with their spit, apparently.
Interesting.
Especially if they're especially drooly, like our baby.
Mhm.
We over here thinking she done caught some respiratory something. Mind you, she don't really go out anywhere. We don't go out anywhere. So we're like, oh my gosh, when did she get sick? When did she catch RSV? What happened? We go to the doctor. She's like, oh, does she always drool this much? Yeah, if not more. And then she's like, yeah, some of y'all came all this way and we're panicking, but she's just playing with her spit. Like, y'all don't hear the sound anymore, do you? No? Not after we panic called everybody. She's like, yeah, this is actually pretty normal.
Everything is normal, man.
That's what.
Still take the babies to the doctors though,
Yeah, no,
because
still do that.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I'd rather y'all
it's
tell me
normal
this
till
than
it's
us
not.
take a risk.
Yeah,
Definitely take, yeah. But
yeah.
yeah, babies be playing with they spit.
They just be babies be doing all kind of baby stuff. So
Ooh, if you have a baby with eczema and you still want to do bath time every night, because we do bath time every night, it's our routine. We got to do it. Just do not wash them with soap. Like, you can put oil in their water and just let them have the bath, but do not be soaping them up every day. That's too much. It's too much for their skin. Um,
Y'all do every other day though, right?
no, they bake. Or you mean for bake for
So,
soaking? We do. Well, for my daughter, she's older, so I like she'll wash her private parts every day, but her whole body maybe once every couple of days. Like, we don't necessarily wash their whole body every day, especially on the weekend. Like, y'all can just be in the water and then get out and moisturize. And the water also helps with them moisturizing, because if I try to moisturize them and they never got in water, it just sits on their skin and they're I'm itchy, I'm itchy. So they need the water, but they don't need the soap.
that's
Yeah,
good. Mm-hmm.
mm,
yeah. Oh, we went through it with the eczema stuff, man. And go see an allergist because they help a lot.
yeah,
Yeah.
Not a dermatologist. Them people. No, we went to a dermatologist first, and she was just like, just use whatever works. Okay, like what you not telling me? Like, we had this cream that someone gave us, and we were asking like, is it okay to use it on a baby? If it works, use it. That's not how it works. And then another doctor was like, you should not be using that on your baby that has steroids in it. Da da da. I'm like, the lady told us to use whatever works, and it was working. And so we stopped using it, and I had to start from scratch. And that's when I was like, okay, let me go to an allergist, because the dermatologist, and that was a black woman. The dermatologist was a black woman. And so, yeah, I was like, yeah, we're not going back to her because she was very much useless.
I
Um,
had a doctor tell me that once, and I fired him right after he sent me that message. I was like, is this bad for my skin? Because I'm having like an outbreak. And he's like, you can use whatever you like. You fired. Y'all get,
like,
get me somebody else because he's
that's
fired.
crazy.
didn't even look at the ingredients good, just said use it. And it's a baby.
Bruh.
But yeah, allergists are much better, I think, for eczema. Dermatologists, because dermatologists are looking at the outside. Allergists are looking at everything
The
like
whole picture.
holistically. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So they may give you creams, or they may say don't. They need to change their diet, or they need to not eat this or not eat that. You need to take this out, um, or you need to just get an allergy test and test for everything. So it's helpful.
Something me and Sean do, size up the diaper at night so y'all can sleep longer, so you don't have to change the diaper in the middle of the night.
I
Yeah.
feel that night diaper, like, since we get the night ones, plus a size up, because
Oh, like the overnight diapers.
We
plus
about to
a
beat it
size
too.
up,
We
because
Yeah.
about to beat it too.
that is, yeah, no.
Mhm. Yeah, this girl done going through fours now. I'm like, girl, we just got to threes.
Mm-mm.
Why are you filling up fours overnight?
It's a
Yeah.
lot.
Overnight. Good. I didn't
Yeah,
start using overnight diapers that early though. Jeez, what y'all giving these babies?
they
Wait, did
fluid it
I?
up.
I don't even know. I can't remember anything. My kids old.
Yeah, I mean, they should be. It's. I think it's just. It's really kind of like the location, because when she sleeps, she gets in this like position, so then it kind of like crunches the diaper, so then it's
Ah,
not
yeah.
filling up the whole thing. It's just filling up like the top part, and then it kind of
Mm-hmm.
just leaks out.
Yeah.
So we be trying to change the like, haha, and then it be in the same spot every time. I'm like, girl, like, you getting this big one now, but it works. So no more
That's
issues,
good.
no more leakage, and full diapers. So um, we are our time. We there,
Yeah.
and it's my bedtime.
Yeah, it is. Everybody bedtime. Ooh, it's 9:30.
Girl, I seen it. That's it. Ooh. But the brush his teeth and be like, "Ooh, I got volleyball tomorrow. I gotta be well rested." Like volleyball
Exactly.
ain't till 5 p.m. Like,
Uh,
whatever.
Stuff is going
a daddy in the morning, so and
Huh?
I gotta wake up early. I say you gotta be a daddy in the morning, and I gotta wake up early too.
I know. I know. But thanks for tuning in, guys. We loved all of your amazing questions that you submitted. Um, so yeah, next time we hope you also send more. Um,
Yeah. Don't make
and
me have to
Drop us
find.
a comment. Send us a DM.
I'm about
We're
to start.
always open.
I'm gonna start messaging the people that view it. Hey, I seen you looked at our post.
uh, send us
Lots?
stuff.
Question mark?
That's crazy. But until next time, guys, we'll see y'all later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Love y'all.